Brother, if your wife gets upset and you try to explain yourself, but somehow she becomes even more upset, this video is for you. In the next few minutes, I'll show you why your explanation may not be landing, and the one shift that can lower the tension, and also 3 simple lines that you can use tonight without sounding fake, weak, or scripted. Because maybe you are not trying to hurt her, maybe you are not trying to dismiss her, maybe you are just trying to explain what happened. But if you explain too early, she may hear it as defense, not understanding. And once she feels that, the conversation can turn very quickly. She feels unheard, you feel criticized. And before you know it, a small conversation becomes another argument. Now, let me say this clearly. This does not mean you're a bad husband. It does not mean you do not care. And it does not mean you do not love your wife. A lot of men actually experience this. Men who are working hard, men who are providing, men who are carrying real responsibility, men who genuinely want peace at home. But they were never taught what to do. In that exact moment, when their wife is upset, they feel blamed, and their first instinct is to defend themselves. That moment matters because your first reaction is not always your best response. And stay with this, because this is where many good men lose the moment without realizing it. Maybe you come home tired from work. You have been dealing with pressure all day. People needed things from you, problems had to be solved, decisions had to be made, and maybe nobody asked how you are doing. You walk through the door hoping for a little peace, but then your wife brings something up. Maybe she says, "You didn't even ask me how my day was," or "You always come home distant," or "I feel like you don't listen to me," and instantly something rises inside you. You feel accused. You feel underappreciated. You feel like, after everything I do, this is what I'm hearing? So you respond. You say, "That's not true. I was just tired." Or, "You know how much I had on today." Or, "I didn't mean it like that." And brother, maybe that's true. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you really did not mean it like that. Maybe your intention was not bad at all. But this is the part many men miss. In that moment, your wife may not be asking you to prove your intention. She may be trying to see if you understand her experience. That is the difference. You are defending what you've meant. She is expressing how it felt. And if you defend too early, she may feel like you are not hearing her. So she pushes harder. Then you defend harder. She feels more alone. And you feel more attacked. And now both of you are reacting. This is where the conversation starts going downhill. Not because you do not love each other, not because either of you wants conflict, but because both of you are trying to protect something. She may be trying to protect her heart. You may be trying to protect your intention. She wants to feel heard. You want to feel understood. But the way the conversation is happening makes both of you feel further apart. Now listen carefully to this, because this is the shift. When your wife is upset, do not explain first. Acknowledge first. That's it. Do not explain first. Acknowledge first. Before you say, "That's not what I meant," pause. Before you say, "You're taking it the wrong way," pause. And before you say, "I was tired," pause and say something that shows her, "I hear you." Not because you're weak, not because you agree with everything she said, not because you have no side, but because acknowledgement lowers the temperature of the moment and it tells her, "I am not against you right now." And brother, that matters, because when your wife is upset, one of the questions underneath her words may be, "Is he with me or is he against me right now?" And if she feels you're against her, your logic will not land, even if your point is right, even if your explanation makes sense, even if you are being reasonable. If she feels alone in the conversation, your words may still feel cold. So instead of saying first, "That's not true, I was just tired," you could say, "I hear you. I can see why that felt hurtful." Or, "I understand why that upset you." Or, "You're right, I was distant. When I came in, I was tired, but I can see how that affected you." Simple, calm, ready. You are not losing your voice. You are not becoming passive. You are not saying she is right about everything. You are starting with presence instead of starting with defense. Then, after that, you can explain your side calmly. But now your explanation comes after acknowledgement, not instead of acknowledgement. That one change can make a big difference because many men are not trying to be harsh. They are just entering the conversation too early with defense. And when defense comes first, connection usually comes last. Now, before I give you the 3 lines, there's something deeper here. From an Islamic perspective, your home is not separate from your deen. The way you speak when you are tired matters. The way you respond when you feel criticized matters. The way you repair after tension matters. The way you control your anger matters. This is part of character. This is part of amana. This is part of taqwa. Your home is where your nafs is exposed and your character is proven. Not when everything is peaceful, not when everyone is calm, but when you are tested, when you feel misunderstood, when your pride gets touched, when you want to defend yourself. That is the moment where leadership begins. Not leadership over your wife, leadership over yourself, because your wife is not the enemy. But sometimes in conflict, your nafs can make her feel like she is. And when that happens, you stop listening to understand, you start listening to defend. You stop trying to repair, you start trying to win. And brother, that's where distance starts. Not always from that huge argument. Sometimes distance grows through repeated small moments. A defensive reply here, a cold silence there, a harsh tone, a conversation left unrepaired, and shaitan loves distance between hearts. But we still take responsibility. Shaitan may whisper, the nafs may react, but you still choose your response. You can pause, you can lower your tone, you can acknowledge before explaining, you can respond instead of react. And I know this sounds simple, but simple does not always mean easy. Especially when you are tired, especially when you feel disrespected, especially when you feel like your effort is not being seen. So, here are 3 simple lines you can use the next time your wife is upset. The first one is, "I hear you." The second one is, "I can see why that hurt." And the third one is, "Let me understand first, then I'll respond." You do not need to say them perfectly, you do not need to sound polished, and you do not need to use all 3. The point is not to perform a script, the point is to slow the moment down and show her that you are present. Because once the moment slows down, you can think more clearly, you can speak with more calm, and you can respond with more responsibility. That is why I created a free guide called "What to Say When Your Wife is Upset Without Making It Worse." It is short and it is practical, and it gives you a simple 3-step response for that exact moment when your wife is upset and you do not want to make things worse. The 3 steps are simple. First, do not jump into early. Second, say one line that acknowledges her. And third, then respond calmly, without defending or escalating. That is the order. Listen, acknowledge, then respond. Most men accidentally do it backwards. They respond first, they explain first, and they defend first. And then they try to repair after the damage has already happened. This guide helps you to slow that down in a practical way, not in a complicated way, and definitely not in a therapy heavy way. Just in a way you can actually use, before your next difficult conversation. So, brother, if this pattern happens in your marriage, start here. If your wife gets upset and you often explain, defend, or shut down, start here. If you regret what you said later, start here. Click the link below and download the free guide, What to Say When Your Wife is Upset Without Making It Worse. Read it, use it, try it before your next difficult conversation. And remember, your wife is not the enemy. Your first reaction is not always your best response. And leadership at home begins with leadership over yourself. Assalamu alaikum.